Hopefully everybody can see this. Right, what I'll do is go through some of the technical setup of the staff wellbeing space, and then Mel will talk about the content. We set this up as we went into lockdown. We do have a wellbeing community at the Tech Partnership, and we have been running quite a lot of different initiatives. Then we found it difficult once we went into lockdown, so we decided to create space on Teams. And it has been quite successful, so we're just going to talk you through what we've done and show you how we did it. So this is the staff wellbeing space we've set up. It's got a lot of channels in it down the left hand side, which are generally the topics. And what we did was lock down the general channel so nobody could post in there, just so we didn't end up with everything all in one folder, and tried to split it out. Some of the folders, some of the channels have got moderators in, such as the mental health ones, where we've got the occupational health nurse and HR in there, and some of our mental health first aiders. And some of them are completely locked as well, just down to the moderators, which there are two overall moderators of the whole thing. So if I just go into one of these, if you manage the channels, you can see you can change the moderation, you can turn it on and off, who can see the posts. We made it available to the entire organisation for staff, so all staff can see it, and they can contribute into these channels whenever they want to, or just dip in and help themselves to the content. Just go into another one. So what we've done, I think we've got one on in the general channel. At the top here, you can actually link to your favourite apps. So if you've got a Yammer site, if you're external to us, or if you're internal to us, you might see Yammer. The COVID-19 updates, they've actually been linked into here as well. So whenever they get updated on the Yammer site, they're automatically updated in staff wellbeing. You can link the two together. We have had some fun and fun days and training events in here, which Mel will probably mention after she's gone through all the channels and the content. Do you want to come in at this point, Mel, and talk about the channels?
Hi, yeah. So I was just having a quick look at the responses on the forms that people have filled in as well. It's quite interesting actually to see. We've got a mixture here of people who work within our organisation and external as well, but nobody present today has actually used this. You've all said that it's something you haven't used yet, so it'd be interesting sort of to know what the barriers are from people using this. But yeah, if we can look at some of the content, if you can click on things, Simon, because you're still showing your screen, which is fine if you want to do it that way. So the idea of this was, it came from Simon and I sit on the Health and Wellbeing Committee for staff, and we got together at the beginning of lockdown and said, actually, what about the staff that are feeling quite isolated at home? So this isn't a work related thing. This is a space for people to talk about non-work related stuff. And a bit of a social space, really. So we started off with a handful of different topics, and then over the weeks, people asked for different things to be added. So you can see there we've got things like, it started off with simple things like entertainment. What series are people watching on Netflix at the minute? You know, the type of banter that you would normally get at work that you would talk to people about, that some people would be missing. So we put some links on there. Exercise, so there were some people recommended different like yoga, online yoga things on YouTube, and sort of personal fitness personal training type channels and things that they recommended. Things like, and obviously this grew over time, so things like finances, it became apparent for some people that was a bit of an issue during lockdown, and they were starting to worry about finances. So we put in some resources there, to sort of helplines and things that people could go to. And then, you know, hair and beauty, we had to be a bit careful with that one, because at first we said, oh, why don't we do, you know, at the beginning of lockdown, lots of people were shaving their heads and things like that. And we talked about, oh, maybe we could do a group head shave and things like that. But after a bit of careful consideration, we decided that probably wasn't going to be something that we would do, just because, you know, we teach hair and beauty, and maybe that wouldn't be appropriate. So, you know, there's been a bit of trial and error with these things, and we've learned as we've been going along. Things in there to do with mental health, so a lot of support, you know, different apps and websites and links to the employee assistance program and things where people can go to share, to seek support, but also to share their own sort of hints and tips and things that they were doing to keep themselves well too. There's things on there about pets. I know at the beginning, I remember Simon putting something on there because he was struggling to get hold of some cat food, and so you know, literally anything that people would maybe talk to each other about at work on a social sort of basis. We decided that we would use this space for it. We did do an online quiz. We did some interactive things. So we did an online quiz where some staff got together. I was the quiz master, and we got everybody to vote on the topic. So we went, the most popular choice was films, so we did a quiz on films. So it's just for fun. It was just nice to see each other and talk to each other, not just in Teams meetings to do with work-related things, but socially too. There's a channel on there for cooking and recipes. So a lot of people were sharing their favourites recipes, because obviously a lot of people were doing a lot more cooking and baking at home, and one of our tutors over in hospitality kindly hosted a cook along where everybody made their own fish cakes at home, which was very successful. At the time I was trying to be a vegan, so I didn't participate in that one, but Simon's fish cakes looked really good. So yeah, it was really, as I say, this is there's a thing on there as well where people can request moderators to add channels or content. So if there's specific things that people were into, you know, interested in and wanted to share, then we can. And this is an ongoing thing. This isn't just for lockdown. This is something we're going to keep going, because actually it's really valuable to a lot of staff members, and hopefully this is something we can build on and more people will get involved with, because the idea is it's not just Simon and myself putting the content on, but that everybody adds their own content and makes this a really useful shared space. Is there anything else you want me to add?
Has anybody asked any questions?
No, does anybody have any questions about?
If you just pop them in chat or switch your microphones on.
My question, I don't know if it's something for the end, obviously when you finish presenting, but this might just be more because of my own personal circumstances. Obviously everyone's sort of going back to work, as you know, I would say the majority of staff are now going back to work, but I know that in my role I'm continuing to work remotely. I just wondered what the plan is for kind of providing any kind of you know, pastoral support for staff that are continuing to work from home, because my concern is that as soon as staff kind of go back in and they're back seeing their colleagues, we're just going to kind of be left to our own devices. And I'm not saying that's like a bad thing. Honestly, the support you guys have provided over lockdown has been absolutely phenomenal, and you know, above and beyond anything that I was expecting. But I just wondered if there was any provision or thoughts about if there are any, you know, for staff that are continuing to work remotely.
I mean, we will continue to develop this. Sorry, was that
Heather, sorry.
Hiya, Heather. We will continue to develop this and we can continue to use this, but is there something in particular that you would like to see in place that maybe we can sort of take back to the Health and Wellbeing Committee that we can...
We have got mental health first aiders, obviously. How many have we got? 30 or 40 mental health first aiders available. There's Oc Health, there's the Employee Assistance Programme. But yeah, we can take things back to the Health and Safety Committee and the Wellbeing Committee.
I think for me, it's just more like, obviously, going into lockdown, you know, and obviously being told we're working from home. I you know, obviously, personally, I've been so used to working in such a huge environment with so many different people, and obviously, I've got quite a lot of friends at work as well. But everyone that I know is going back into work, and like the thing that I sort of in my head I was like, oh, this is only going to be temporary, but it looks like it's not going to be temporary. I just wondered if there was anything like that could just be set up like that's maybe on a smaller scale, just like as a social space, or even just like a, I don't know, maybe it's just something for me to just kind of to do myself, you know, to try and set up a bit of a social space, you know, even if it's just, you know, a lunchtime drop in, you know, Teams meeting or a you know, or a coffee chat or something. Yeah, or just like a coffee chat
within this staff wellbeing space. We could schedule something.
Yeah, that would just be nice. Just so
who hosts it then?
Yeah.
Who would you want management to host it?
Well,
or
I
staff
suppose
to host it?
that's well, I think that's the problem, isn't it? Because obviously you guys are now, you're going back to you know to work,
Yeah,
and obviously
we've got a lot
things
of
are busy.
mental health first aiders though, so we could put some sort of rota on, and it doesn't have to be in work time. It could be after work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something I'd certainly be willing to set up, Heather. You
can always have one-to-ones with mental health first aiders.
Mm.
You know, you can set something up between yourselves if you want to, or if you wanted something more sort of informal and have a sort of a club, if you like, to drop into and have a general social chat.
Yeah.
Is it more the general social chat you wanted?
I think it's more the fact that, you know, I mean, obviously I know I'm extremely lucky to be still working from home. Honestly, I do understand that, but the thing that I really miss is, like, I used to pop and
like
see my friends in the
with
library, and yeah, we used to just pop and see a coffee, or even, you know, when you just sort of, you know, you pop and see someone in their office and you just have a little bit of a chinwag and a catch up. It's all the informal stuff that you just don't get anymore, you know. And even so, if I have a meeting now with somebody, it's a meeting about a specific thing, and they're on a specific time limit. It's very rare that I would just have a casual chat with somebody, unless I actually, you know, unless we sort of, you know, we're kind of already in a meeting. So it's just that kind of, those kind of social situations have kind of been kind of completely broken down with online working.
Yeah,
we can definitely look at setting that up, Heather. Do you think it would work best over a lunchtime, or do you think it'd be best sort of on an afternoon, or how do you foresee it?
I just think even if it's just once a week, you know, it just kind of some kind of little meeting that, you know, on a lunchtime, just a coffee and a chat, just to sort of, you know, something like that would just, you know. And if any of the mental health first aiders are, you know, available, then if anybody does need any help, or any sort of wants to just have a bit of a chat about something, then obviously they're there and then sort of can, you know, have a chat. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just sort of, I think for me, I think the past few weeks, I think all the way through lockdown in my own head, I was like, oh, well, this is only temporary. We'll be going back at some point. And now I'm just like, I've now got to face the other fact of, actually, this is probably not going to be as temporary. And I've got to completely get my head around the fact that, and it sounds really bad, that I might not be seeing my friends anytime soon. And that's quite a bit of a difficult thing to get your head around.
Especially over the winter months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could be doing this for another couple of terms even.
Yeah, so it's you know, and I've contacted my you know, my people, that colleagues and things, and I've said, oh, can we have a meet up in Teams and stuff, but I know what they're like, and I know that they're going to be extremely busy, and I know that's going to be difficult. So something fixed, even if it's, you know, even if it's just knowing that there's something that you could just pop into, you know, I think would be quite nice.
We could also do some more fun events. We've done bingo in the summer. We've done karaoke, things like that. We could do that as well, or we can have just general chat drop-ins.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Heather, and we'll definitely set something up. So
thank you. Sorry to hijack your training.
No, it's great. That's what this is for. We want input, we want feedback. We want to carry this on and develop it. So it's great.
Have we got any external people to the partnership there with ideas? Have you got anything similar set up in your organisations? You might have to look in chat, Mel. I can't see the chat here.
Yeah, there's nobody commenting yet.
Right, I'll just stop sharing the screen. See what's going on. Any other questions or comments?
What could we do to encourage more people to participate? So for those of us within Tech Partnership, for those of you that haven't used it yet, what could we do to sort of, what would you like to see? What would you like us to do differently to encourage you to get involved with it? You can either speak or put it in the chat bar. It's up to you.
That's me.
Okay. So I think for some people, it was the idea of getting used to using Microsoft Teams for this rather than Yammer, because Yammer is something that we've used for a long time, that people are comfortable with using, the know what's what with it. And we did find, to start with, we were having to post things in both Yammer and in the team space as well. Again, I think it's just that change of you know, a different way of doing things that people just might not be particularly au fait with Teams and find it a bit scary, but I think over time we're all getting used to using it a lot more.
I think it's I mean, it's difficult, I think, because obviously we can't really use like a regular social media channel for this, you know, because obviously you can't really use Facebook for it, because it's a weird sort of you know, obviously people are on Facebook and, you know, we're friends with each other on Facebook, a lot of us, but again, it's not, it's that boundary, isn't it? And also for sort of your own GDPR safeguarding, all this kind of stuff, it's not really appropriate.
Controlled environment in here.
Yeah. But at the same time, I know from obviously my work that I do know that people do still feel quite unconfident about using Teams. And I think if you're somebody that's going somewhere for you know, as basically to relax, you don't want to necessarily be doing something that's going to, at the first hurdle, cause you stress. I don't know. It's difficult. I really wanted to, it's such a shame that we can't have things like chat groups on Yammer, but I don't think that's a thing. So.
But you know, this is a social channel. I mean, Helen's just put, now that she knows it's there, she'll tell others that might not know about it. And there was a comment by one member of staff I picked up on before we broke up for the summer, and he said, we're so busy doing everything else, we haven't got time for this staff wellbeing stuff. But actually that's the fundamental issue, isn't it, that staff wellbeing is so important, and the fact that you're running around so busy thinking you haven't got time for it, it's that encouraging people to actually take a step back and take care of themselves and look after themselves.
One thing I'm going to look at, and Heather, you will probably be interested in this, we get a weekly report now from Outlook on focus time. You've probably noticed it in your inbox. It tells you who you've been speaking to, how long you've been online, how fast you responded to emails, and then it suggests that you book yourself focus time so that you've got some quiet time to catch up on things, which might be worth for some people looking at to help them manage their time when you get overwhelmed and sometimes you think I just want an hour out to catch up, we have got the software that helps us do that.
Yeah, it's I think it is. It's a bit of a cultural thing. Just, you know, reminding people that it's just as important to take that bit of time for yourself and to do these things. And it's great that as an organisation that, you know, we do value staff wellbeing, and we are putting things like this in place, and you know, trying different initiatives and things, because not all organisations do that. So yeah, so Helen said that's one reason she took the Outlook app off of her phone when on leave and things like that. So it's so easy to, if you've got apps on your phone, to not be able to switch off properly.
Yeah, I turn notifications off on my phone to stop that kind of thing. But that's what the focus feature is about. If you book focus time, it stops all your notifications for that focus time, and you can put your working hours in there and just stop the disturbances at certain times of the day.
Yeah.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you. And it's something as simple as people knowing how to take off the notification sound on Microsoft Teams, because a few people were saying, oh, since you put that on, my phone's constantly going all the time. And actually it's something simple, like, do people know how to turn off the notification setting?
Yeah.
Because that can be quite stressful in itself when your phone's constantly pinging.
Okay, it's a good session. We're going to have to wind it up because somebody else is using this room in a few minutes. I've popped a code in there. If anybody's a Microsoft Innovative Educator, you can redeem that code for attending this session today. And if you want to look on that site, there's lots of useful stuff that Microsoft put on there. Okay, if there's no more questions, thank you for attending.